Alright, so we're talking about one of the most underrated mutants of all time, Multiple Man. Now, I know in these pictures he gives off the aesthetic that is very similar to Gambit, but he is much different. And he didn't just grow into his powers, he was born with his powers. Now, Jamie Madrox's story doesn't begin like other mutants. Most mutants will gain their abilities upon adolescence or some kind of trauma that happens a little bit later on. But for Jamie, it happened upon birth. Now, this initially occurred when the doctor slapped him on the bottom. And when he slapped him on the bottom, he duplicated. And his parents were terrified. They noticed that they weren't just raising a baby, but a baby who would duplicate upon touch. Now, a little later on, Professor Charles Xavier came to speak to his parents and gave them a suggestion that they should move into a more isolated area. And with that came a power dampening suit. Now, this kinetic dampening suit basically stopped him from multiplying upon touch. Now, at this part of the story, you're probably like, wow, Jamie went through a lot, and he did. But things got a little bit better until he turned 15, where a freak tornado came out of nowhere and destroyed the entire farm and killing his family as well. And unbeknownst to him, it was caused by someone called Damian Tripp. As you can tell, Jamie went through a lot. And with him being by himself, he lived in isolation for about 6 years. And there was a point where his suit basically malfunctioned, and all of the repressed emotions that he's ever felt throughout the years basically acted up, and he multiplied. He multiplied into hundreds of versions of himself. Lost and confused and definitely desperate, he wandered all the way to New York City when he finally clashed with the Fantastic Four. But this led into Professor X coming to save him once again. This eventually led to the X-Men wanting him to join the team, which he declined. And eventually he chose to serve under Dr. Moira McTaggart on Muir Island. But with anything, with destiny and also fate and trauma itself, they're always duplicating. So if you want to see more on Multiple Man, because I'm telling you right now, there are a tons of ups and downs, and his life is nothing but trials and tribulations. So type in Multiple Man in the comments if you want to see more. If you made it to the end of the video, I have a question for you, a trivia question. What team did Multiple Man go up against when he went to New York before he was saved by Charles Xavier again later?